Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. It is Markets in the Morning. Let's go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the blockchain backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Welcome to Markets in the Morning. Today is January 19th, 2024. This is Markets in the Morning, where we take a look at the price action of the cryptocurrency market, including the Bitcoin price chart, the altcoin market. Take a look over there at the stock market as it gets set to open up here in the next 4 minutes. Take a peek over there at precious metals like gold and the DXY, the US dollar currency index. And then, of course, we'll take a peek over there at any type of financial news or any type of crypto news before this thing gets to a conclusion. For those who've been listening, I've been working on my Spanish a lot. And so before I started, I was like, alrighty, let's get ready to go. And then, of course, I heard my wife screaming in the background, laughing. And, then I hit the go button. So there you go. That's some Spanish. From me. But either way, today we're starting the day off with Bitcoin at $41,000 after shifting down a little bit yesterday. Altcoin market still all just kind of hovering around in here. You got XRP just sitting right there on top of that daily support level, those daily candle closes that it's been at for quite some time in here. Let's see, that's not the daily. There's the daily. Hanging out still one more time, of course, looking awfully familiar to what we've seen last time before things really got themselves shuffling and buffling on their way to the upside. So we'll see if we can end up holding this thing here throughout the weekend. Altcoin market still just shuffling along as well, as Bitcoin has come back down to really kind of a supportive level. So this has really been a support level and a resistance level that's really dated back for several years in here, just this whole general area. This was the resistance area from January of 2021. Then it broke through here. Then it was resistance level again here in June of 2021, broke out. This was the support level in September of 2021. And then here we go. We're back at it currently right now, seeing how things are going to end up holding in here right now for distribution, right? Either way, my thoughts are this is distribution. You guys have unquestionably seen all of this glorious stuff in here that has got the internet just absolutely spitting fire at me. But, the thing is, what is this distribution going to look like? My thoughts are I would be way more surprised to see price just shoot straight back down. I would think distribution would last much longer than that. Question is, where is that first initial supportive area going to come in for things to then just kind of waddle sideways for quite some time? This area looks like it has the potential to be one. We haven't seen any signs of it. You can look on the indicators in here. Things are still just straight pointing down. But I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see something. So we'll keep our eyes on it throughout the day, see if it starts to kind of settle itself down. My thoughts are, again, lots of distribution structures. Again, I would not even be surprised to see price go higher than that, even though I've already sold all of my Bitcoin from down in here. I would not be surprised to see it poke a little bit higher, but we're just waiting for some type of actual real support to come in first before we can start figuring out structures. Again, my thoughts have been that it's going to be something that looks more like that, and then kind of tails its way off. But right now, of course, still getting through all the selling pressure that is happening right here, right now. But this seems like as good a spot as any for one to show up. Anybody who pays attention to things like crashing structures and stuff like that, right? It's like 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where are you at? Wait for everything. Wait 5. Right? Things just kind of hang out and do something like that before then the end comes in. I could see that being possible, which in the end is just exactly the things that we talk about in here. So just kind of waiting to see some supports finally start to show up in here for Bitcoin. And then I think the several months ahead, if there's opportunity in this market, it will not be coming from Bitcoin. It would be coming from the altcoin market beyond here. So there you go. There's Bitcoin still just waiting to get have some buyers show up for it as the sell pressure still wanes after the ETF launches have occurred. Moving on, altcoin market, right? Nothing too fancy there. XRP chilling right there. Daily candle closes have still been able to hold on top of that 54.2 cents. We'll see if that can continue throughout today and through to the weekend. Stock market opening to the upside. Dow Jones just opened up 88 points. It's actually down from where it was in pre-market. I think I saw it as high as 171 in pre-market. The NASDAQ up 70 points, and the S&P up 10. So we're up about 1/3% on average throughout the different indexes. Looks like that's a little shift down from what it was in pre-market. Pretty mixed over here. Leaders of the day, Meta, Nvidia, Google, and Apple. Losers, Ford, Coinbase, Tesla, and Netflix in here. Yields are up, silver down, gold pulling back a little bit. Again, another one that was better in pre-market, but now that markets are open and kind of shifting down, looks like what we actually have here, the culprit. You got the DXY kind of popping a little bit right in here as starting to move, shift its way up now that markets are actually opening, and we're getting into the opening right now. So DXY, again, I still think there's probably higher left here in the DXY. But, this isn't the end all be all. Oh, there you go. NDXT just opened up slightly higher. Been waiting for that. So there you go. There you go. NDXT. That's a good sign, right? It's not the end of times yet for markets just yet. So there you go. NDXT still continues to do its slight march right in there. That's a good sign. I think that's it, right? Gold. That's silver. How are you doing gold? Not a whole lot. There you go. Here, I'll take this off. We'll go like this. Shoot out to the monthly time frame, right? We know that on the monthly scale. These were the highest monthly closes over here for gold. Question is this a monthly back test in here? Difficult read currently right now on just hanging out up here at the top of the range. But as for Bitcoin, I think the big question is, will it be able to find some real supports coming in today? And then, of course, will XRP be able to maintain daily candle closes as we have historically seen? So that's where we're at right now. We'll see how the day wraps up. And let's shift our focuses on over to this guy. So I'm like on a terrible streak right now of setting the world on fire on Twitter. But that's okay, because I did expect there to be a little bit of pushback in here, talking about development activity and development data. With XRP and development activity, and it's coming from a very good place in the heart. But it just needs to be pointed out, and it just needs to be acknowledged by the community, because I think it's one of those things that get brushed under the rug and people just don't pay attention to, that we need to focus more on the clear roadblock, bottleneck that happens in bringing developers into XRP. But you could say that for any of your things. So if you have any of these coins in here and you have the same thing, it's probably trying to identify those. Like, for example, with Ethereum, you have over 6,000 full-time devs, right? We can move over here to, let's move over to full-time, right? These are single chains. Hold on. We're going to go back to full-time developers. There's Ethereum, right? Of like 3,750 full-time developers, 3,750. XRP has 73. 73 versus 3,750. You have Polygon over here with about 1,350. You have Polkadot with 1,200. Cosmos with 1,050. Arbitrum with 950. XRP was 73. So, this is going to be like a pain point for a minute for everybody, but this is a great opportunity for growth over here in the XRP ledger, and for any of your stuff. If you own any of these things, trying to figure out those solutions, if you're part of any of these communities, what is the bottlenecks that's holding back developers from coming to your chain that you are so passionate about? And these are great eye-opening things, and I look at these things as opportunities. There's opportunity for growth. Just got to isolate problems, present solutions, and then execute them. So that's going to be my thing moving forward. I think I've identified that as my project for 2024. Right now, we're in awareness issues and identifying bottlenecks. So we'll see how things go throughout the year. I'm very confident that at least XRP is going to move way up on that list in 2024. But it'll upset a lot of people. I could see yesterday. I had to hop into space yesterday, if you guys don't know. There's some dude on there like, yeah, he's blaming the Riddlers and the conspiracy theorists. It's like, no. For price being down. Like, look, dude, that is like not what I said. I said we have to stop focusing on conspiracies and riddles and focus on the things that matter, which is growth, development. And those things, we're going to focus on them. And it's nice to see a lot of attention being brought to it. And just so you guys know who watch the channel, I had a lot of DMs yesterday. I had a lot of praise from the developers and the builders on the XRP ledger yesterday. And they're definitely helping me identify issues. So Don't listen to the whiners. Progress is being made already for identifying stuff. So this will be great in the long term. But that's an eye opener, right? So it's a group effort. It's not something I can do alone. It's something that everybody has to partake in and identify issues and present solutions in there. And that goes for any of your chains. It's very easy to sit on Twitter and be a whiner and a crybaby about everything. Very easy to do that, but it does nothing. You're not helping anything. But you can try to proactively help with whatever chain you have. Whatever it is that you like, and you recognize those types of issues, those are the types of things that show to have impacts on adoption, acceptance, and price appreciation in 2021. Is that there is a development, there is a community that is actively partaking in the network, and those are things that you should be focusing on no matter what it is that you like. It does not have to be a coin that I own. It could be anything, right? So let that be a lesson to anybody. All right, there you go. Bitcoin, $41,000 at the opening of the stock market. Dow Jones now 50 points up. NASDAQ 86. So NASDAQ improving, and S&P and Dow slightly pulling back here as the day gets started. I swear I thought I saw that thing at up 171 in pre-market. Here, I can tell right here. Let's put us on the 1 minute time frame and see what has happened since there. Yeah, so this is what it was like during pre-market, right? So since that peak right there in pre-market has fallen 196. Okay, so yeah, not lying, not imagining things at least. So there you go. Pull back over there in the Dow in from pre-market to rise. Looking over there at metals pulling back this morning as well. DXY still on a slight grind up in here. So there you go. That's really how we're starting out the day. Bitcoin potential support could be showing up in here for now to at least provide some stability to get rid of all the panic and fear that has happened after the ETF and the missed expectations of prices going to the moon once the ETF launched. The thing is, just because I think that Bitcoin has topped, in no way am I cheering for Bitcoin to be crumbling to the ground. The best thing, the absolute best thing for the whole cryptocurrency market is just Bitcoin stabilizing here and Bitcoiners still thinking they're going to the moon. It keeps the excitement in the market. It keeps the euphoria in the market, the high expectations, the chasing yield, all those good things. I'm definitely not cheering for that. And I don't have that in my base case that it just goes crumbling to the ground for Bitcoin. Stability is the thing that we're looking for. Stability is a good thing in Bitcoin, and optimism and hope and all those stuff. That's all you want to see. And there's a fine case to think just for those who do crashing structures that you could find some supports coming in here after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, support at 4, and then pulling back, right? And then this provides that stability in here, and that stability keeps the dream alive. So, all right, that's what we're going to be looking for today as we wrap up the week. It'll be interesting to see how it closes, right? So what we saw last week is we saw in the final hour of trading. No, okay, right? I think so. Let me go look. We're going to the 5 minute time frame, guys. All right. Okay. Here's the market opening on Friday. Plums, finds support. So there's like a sell up, right? So we have to imagine this is like stock. It's a stock now, right? Kind of you have to think about it, right? All right. So this is when the United States stock market opens on Friday, right? 2 hours later, it finds stability. Then as the stock market closes, it goes in for one more flush. And that flush lasts about an hour and a half. Now, I have no clue why that would happen after the stock market closes on Friday. But what I saw people speculating is that, some rebalancing happening with ETFs, right? That's where they take their Bitcoin and they sell it, or they do whatever they do. I don't know. But it was last Friday where you saw a lot of movement in here, and people were blaming it on ETFs. Could that be true? I have literally no clue. but something to keep your eyes on. Remember, once we got into the weekend and we got into the extended holiday, Bitcoin went flat as markets were closed. So we're at Friday, about to head into the weekend. We'll see if we have the kind of a chaotic ending to the week, and then if we just go right back into stability again because all the ETFs are closed, nobody can buy the ETFs, and it's now like a 1-to-1 tie to the stock market. We'll see. But either way, like just kind of like from a support level area right there. I mean, you just kind of see where you're at. You understand you're on an area that has been supportive. The area to be like super panicked of like big falls is, of course, when you're higher, when you're hitting retraces. Now that things fall back, people start like their minds start to change. They start to think, oh gosh, maybe this is all real. Maybe it's all true. Now I'm feeling the pain. And then when people feel the pain, that's usually when they start to capitulate. But when you just look at it from supportive levels, right, you are technically on one. We'll see if they're able to actually hold themselves throughout the actual day, right? And so we'll see if XRP can hold its throughout the day. And then, we'll just kind of head into next week. And I don't think there was anything too crazy to yell about that went on this week. Last week, of course, was the big week with the ETFs. And then, just back down to supports goes Bitcoin after all the excitement happens, right? So look to see. This is an interesting area for a support to show up. So keep that in mind. And for those who are like, it's too much. And everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. So I think that really just covers it, right? We'll see how the week closes with the ETFs, see if there's any type of rebalancing. So anyway, what you saw last time, to keep your eyes on, depending on where you live in the world, I don't know where you live, when the stock market closes, that's where you saw one more flush in Bitcoin. We'll see if it's the opposite. Maybe it's a push up in Bitcoin. Maybe it was stupid to even look at that and it means absolutely nothing. But keep your eyes on it throughout today, because what we did see last weekend is like there was a lot of action on Friday, and then it just went dead throughout the whole weekend. So, okay, there you go. Not a whole lot to say about altcoins outside of also on supportive levels as well. DXY shifting up slightly. Metals, gold, nothing to say there. Silver down 15 cents. NDXT gets another new little high in here, keeping that dream alive in there, which is just fantastic. And then looking over there at Fed funds rates, this thing has been shifting more towards pause and pause and pause. 97% probability of pause at the next meeting. And then we're at 53% probability of a cut in March. These things obviously, as you can see, change drastically. The next meeting's in 12 days. We always live stream those. We'll see what Jerome Powell says. These things seem to shift drastically after Powell speaks. And so we'll keep our eyes on that as we get closer to it, just to keep an eye on our kind of timeline that we're kind of operating on. The first half of the year still has room for optimism throughout markets. But keeping eyes that there would be a shift change at some point throughout the year. But as of right now, just seeing things like this, of course, is certainly optimistic to see that continue to keep going. So, all right, there you go. Now we'll jump over to news. Dow, see, there you go. Dow wasn't wrong. Dow jumps 200 points, which this was all pre-market news, right? Dow is not up that much anymore. The Dow is up 20 points. So in pre-market, it was up 200. Ford cuts production of F-150 Lightning EV, adds jobs at Bronco and Ranger plant. Wayfair shares surge after home goods retailer announces 1,650 job cuts. Okay, Spirit Airlines jumps 30% after raising fourth quarter forecast. I saw the stuff on there about Dave Portnoy and him buying Spirit Airlines. Right? It was a Spirit, right? And then it crashed the second he posted on Twitter that he bought it. It crashed like 15% or something like that. Sounds like it's bounced back. Good for him. I don't know what's going on with all the craziness of Spirit. I think they tried to get bought out by JetBlue or something like that, and it got blocked. Okay, moving over to Bloomberg. Okay, more international uncertainty. Davos sees nothing normal about global economy for 2024. U.S. futures gain as chip makers set to extend rallying markets. Ford cuts production. Best short calls of 2023 belong to amateur dirty bubble sleuth Spirit Air surges after reaffirming support for JetBlue deal. Okay, there you go. Spirit also confirms it's assessing options. There you go. Maybe not. Cointelegraph, back to crypto. Bitcoin and ETF traders are overstating the impact of GBTC selling. I would agree with that. I would agree with that. Right? We have to have a narrative, right? We all like imagine like if you like if, when you just go understand it all, we always have to have a reason. We always have to have something to blame, right? We always have to have a narrative and a justification for why things aren't going the way that maybe we thought they were. And so it's very easy to point to grayscale and say, oh, it's all that grayscale stuff happening. That's out of our control. Like that is just happening and we can't do anything about it. That is what always happens, right? That people always will say, well, wait, let's point at this. Spot Bitcoin ETF scoop up another 10,600 Bitcoin on day 5. Bitcoin trader who called 48K. Bitcoin price top flags new bearish signal. It's not going to be me, right? No, that's not me, right? No, it can't be. Hold on. I doubt it. I doubt it. They're not. They hate me. No. You have no ego, BCB. You're irrelevant. Sorry. Okay. Impact of Bitcoin ETFs, revolutionary change or colossal dud. Painful to think about NFT creator Nate Alex of selling 70 CryptoPunks too early. Bitcoin miner Hut 8 shares tanked 23% amid accusations from short sellers. That's the double-edged sword of crypto just in general. And like everybody wants to be the person who sells the top. Everybody wants to be the person who sells the bottom. And 99.99999% of them are not that. But everybody puts these expectations on it that they're going to be. Even me, when I'm pretty convicted that, I'm pretty dang sure I got this thing right. Even me, it's still not 100% sell, right? Like, I'm pretty dang convicted. We're working on the top of Bitcoin. Pretty dang convicted. But I still keep some Bitcoin in the event that I'm wrong, right? Like, there's always that chance. And keep a little bit of it in the event of it. And everybody has to find that balance within themselves, wherever they find. But to have these expectations that you're going to be the guy who's just perfect, it's just, you are going to constantly be disappointed in yourself. So don't have those expectations on yourself. Bitcoin miner Hut 8 shares tank 23% amid accusations from short sellers. Donald Trump vows to never allow creation of a CBDC in the United States. Bitcoin price slips to 42.4K as JP Morgan CEO says Bitcoin does nothing. Here's why Bitcoin bulls are facing to shift. These articles were obviously written 2 days ago. VanEck to delist Bitcoin strategy ETFs, citing performance and investor interest, right? So people just aren't going to be interested in that one now that they have all the spot ETFs. People are flowing out from ones and into the others. Bitcoin and ETF traders are overstating the impact of GPT selling. Okay, we already saw that. Crypto bulls lose $217 million as apparent grayscale sales weigh on Bitcoin. Everybody's pointing to grayscale. Ether could soar in 2024 on the back. Remember this, guys. Never forget. Never, ever forget that you live in a magical unicorn fairy dust, puppet masters pulling the puppet strings, God or a simulation universe world for GBTC to hit a 702. All the ETFs reject, and now everybody complaining this is all GBTC's fault. Think about all the things that had to line up in the world for that to happen for GBTC. That's why it's so hard for me to focus on narratives and belief systems and everything like that, because these types of things just happen. It's bizarre. It is bizarro. All right, that's it. There you go. That's really your news. Not a whole lot going on today. Everybody just saying, price is down. We need to blame GBTC. And but technically speaking, if there's any chances of supports, there being some type of support built, you got a little bit of one going on right here, right now. So that'd be the thing to keep the eye on today. You have that going on with XRP too. Let's look at the stock market. Still, Dow is only up 20 points now. Nasdaq up 83. S&P up 8. So the Dow has really pulled back after a strong pre-market, which you can see right here. This is YM1, E-mini Dow futures, all the way back down. Gold, silver, all these guys are pulling back too. As the DXY has just been up slightly, but so no breakouts happening over here on DXY. So, all right, that will do it for today. Very quick, very quick. How much time we at? 21 minutes. Let's go, bro. I got something cool I am doing today. Maybe I'll tell you guys about it next week, but I got something I got going on this morning. Because I do have one vehicle that's got a problem. So I got to take care of that this morning too, which kind of blows. But that's what it is. It's a scary thing too. It's like, you need to check on it, make sure it's okay. All right. I'm hopping into the chat. Happy Friday, everybody. I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic weekend. Pretty tame day out there in markets. Pretty big mix in here, like a total 2. I mean, it's just practically flat. Bitcoin down $300, a little bit higher than as low as it was yesterday. It's on a support level. Keep an eye on it throughout today into the close of the ETFs. This is where we did see a lot of action in the market last week, especially once the stock market did close. Otherwise, we're just kind of keeping our eyes throughout the market, see if we can find some supports in here. There's the case to say supports could be happening in here right now. There's just no evidence of something big popping up just yet. That's what that'll be keeping my eyes on for throughout the weekend. Otherwise, let's dive on into the chat as we get ready for Friday. Eric Martinson, I saw you, brother, just plowing there through before the stream even started. You gifted out a total of 5 different memberships to people who were hanging out. No, not 5, right? 5? Yeah, 5. To people who were hanging out in the chat prior to the stream even starting. Thank you, Eric. Misty X Jason joined as a new member. Thank you very much. So did Alex Watson became a new member. Welcome. Andy Philpott also prior to the stream even starting had gifted out 5 memberships. Thank you. Thank you, Andy. You guys are amazing. Thank you, Andy, and thank you, Eric, and everybody who joined. Alex Watson, I've been watching and lurking since late 2020. I appreciate everything that you do. The best in the business. Big respect from Alex and Kyle from Scotland. First ever super chat. Alex and Kyle from Scotland, the other side of the world. Thank you. Thank you for stepping out of the shadows, too. Block fella, BCB, my man, what's up? On coins that didn't reach 4.236 fibs during the last run, like ADA that reached 2.61, are you pulling the fibs from the same top in January of 2018? ADA's chart looks like it. Support on the 236. I'm going to go look at ADA. I guess we'll do this one first. You could argue that. You could argue it'd be something to pay attention to. Probably for this one in particular, it's just going to depend on what the next several months of the market look like, right? This is very similar to just building a support on top, right? Building a support on top of a Wyckoff accumulation range, right? Range building on top of an accumulation schematic, right? And then getting the juice going. And so that's going to make it a difficult one because of the overlap that happens between the two. So probably a thing to be paying attention to both of them. We have seen this exact thing. This is not modified for size. This is exactly what happens to be Ethereum Classic. And why would you even put an Ethereum Classic chart right here on top of Cardano, which would be just absolutely goofy to do, right? If you do remember, though, that Charles Hoskinson has a very long history with Ethereum Classic as well. I don't know if it's the same market makers. I don't know what is going on with this for these things to be identical. The percentages of these runs were identical in here. And the moves were the same, right? You have the same things happening in here for both of these. They both end up being from this point forward, it's like 4,000%. And then they both have identical size drawdowns. Just absolutely bizarre for that to happen. In this case, for like Ethereum Classic in this example, it did do a 4.236 extension based off of this structure. And it did do it very quickly. Right? I think it went from like $50 to 175 in 3 days is how fast it actually ended up happening, and then hit that and then was done. Things to keep in mind, though, of course, is it was based on the market cap. So I'd probably be watching market caps, and market caps are a big thing that I'll be paying attention to in here, just because of what we saw in 2021, how reactionary those market caps were. But just the bizarreness of Cardano in itself structurally has a structure that this was the measurement for a 4.236 extension. Things, of course, like everybody wants to pay attention to single assets, but it is incredibly important to pay attention to the whole market as a whole because of things like this, where if they don't reach it to the full extensions, does a plug have to be pulled early? And so that's why we're still going to be watching Bitcoin. We're still cheering for Bitcoin to continue to hold some of its strength, but looking for clear signals in Bitcoin and clear signals in the total altcoin market at the exact same time, because we have to go. If we just do the definition of sanity and we just expect the same thing over and over again, or doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. We watched in 2021, only 22% of the altcoins in the market ended up having anything substantial beyond December 10th. Even Bitcoin beyond December 10th only went up like 275%. I know it looks so fantastic because it went into a new all-time high, but it was only 275%. And so we have to really watch the whole market, and it's going to be the challenge to nail it at the same time. And do understand that if there is more juice left in this market, if there is another peak, and if there is a euphoria phase, which I'm looking forward to, if there is a euphoria phase, it will 100%, like if you can't recognize it, it will 100% be met with, you're selling, you're an idiot. That is what the general consensus of the herd will be. It is always that. If it's low and you're buying, you're a dummy. If it's high and you're selling, you're a dummy. And if you are still running with the herd, if you are still running with them and haven't decided, you know what, I got to learn how to do these things on my own, I got to start identifying stuff and then just taking my guesses based off of this, and recognizing when you hop onto Twitter, when you hop onto X, everybody's hooting and hollering in the moment of selling. Like in the moment of like when you should be selling, right? We go back throughout charts. We go back and look at all of them. The moments of when you should be selling is the moments where there is euphoria, excitement. We're never going down. The price targets are outrageous and outlandish, and everything is crazy. When Kathy Wood's going on TV saying we're going to 600,000 to 1.5 million, you know what I mean? Like, and that same thing happens for your altcoins. You know, Cardano is going to $4,800. You know what I mean? Like just that type of stuff. But you know, in this example of what we actually saw, literally, this is copy and pasted identically. The percentage run up was identical. The percentage drawdown was absolutely identical. This is not modified for size. And in this example, it did use the 4.236 extension off this, but it is based on the market cap. So make sure you're looking at market caps if that thing does end up playing out. Thank you, Blockfella. Reflected Digital gifted a BCB membership. Thank you, brother. All right, you got Quando Muno, Wen Moon. Thank you, AF11. Pat. Oh, my brother Pat, you're up so late, man. It's the weekend. That's right. You can be. Pat, thank you. You gifted 20 memberships, man. And I can already see on the thing. Yeah. Thank you, Pat. You hooked up 20 people in the chat. Thank you, brother. Alberta's Cowboy. Been late to the party. Been negative 50 degrees Celsius for the past few days. You got the blue collars, but where are my rednecks? Yeehaw. God bless BCB. Glad we made it. I'm sure we've every Every breed of life. Every breed of life. And we got everything. Dude, there's police officers and stuff who watch here. I have met 3 different police officers. Maybe 4. And we got them all. We got everything. Cement truck drivers, right? I got a chef. Michael, chef. 42 pros, retired police officer. See? Thank you, Alberto's Cowboy. Nazario. Oh, we got a jeweler. Pediatric nurse. Look at all this stuff, right? Civil engineers. We got them all. Military. Gasoline truck driver. Bartenders, cab drivers. Dude, it's everything. It's everything. Look, BC Barker saying what's up. He's like, I'm the guard dog. Sorry, man. Nazario Navarro, your Spanish is better than mine. LOL, hit that like. Can you look, Reese? Can you look at the time frame for XRP breakout versus the older chart? So you're trying to measure times. Yeah, this is a much shorter time frame than this one is, right? This is over the course of about 2 months. This is over the course of about 2 weeks, but structurally same concept. To Black, remember for 5 months. BCB, if I kidnapped Oscar and Pat, would you give me half your XRP to release them? Thanks for all you do. Shout out for my cousin Mike, freshman. Of course. Then we'll fundraise. Get BCB back as XRP. All right, Daniel. Watched your Ethereum video, but it did not go over price in a super cycle. Can you go over what the past ETFs did in the past? I can't find the video when you went over that. Thank you for everything. Okay, I watched your past Ethereum video, but it did not go over prices in a super cycle. Can you go over what past ETFs did in the past? We actually talked about that this week. We've shown what the ETFs have done. They have marked tops and bottoms. And we got the long guys just going to town. ETFs have marked tops. Just watch markets in the morning the last couple of days. And you know what the structure of markets in the morning is always that we kind of run through the normal charts that happen every morning. And then if there's anything like any topics I just want to kind of like go over real quick, then I kind of run through those before it turns into like hanging out in the chat, being goofball. I say something stupid and there becomes a soundbite made out of it, stuff like that. But you know, in this week, definitely, and I think in 1 or 2 of them very early, it was really dedicated to showing what those ETFs do. Also, if you follow me on Twitter or on X, I put out this really long thread a couple of days ago, and it pinpoints, shows exactly what happens with each one of them. So go check out my X profile and go check out the long thread that I wrote recently. I showed when BTIDE, BTO, CME futures, when all these things launched and how they marked reversal points on the price charts for Bitcoin. As for Ethereum, you'll probably have to look around for Ethereum. We've definitely gone through it, just showing if it was in a super cycle. And like I've said 100 times, I'm not betting that it is in a super cycle, but we could show what it would look like if it was. And that's what's real interesting about Ethereum, is that if it is in a super cycle, it's in an entirely different phase than what Bitcoin is in currently right now. Forrest Hayden, happy Friday, my dudes. Lurker here, hoping you can maybe inject some hopium on this Friday and line up some of the breakout fractals and do a little BCB NFA fortune telling. Right now, it's just more of like, hey, can we see these things hold on daily time frames? Can we find a support come in and get some type of support happening right in here right now? That's more of kind of where we're at, right? We've seen dominance pull back. We've seen things pull back in regards to dominances, but we're clearly in a selling moment, and we need some supports to show themselves first. Right now, there's just not signs of like bull divergences emerging in here just yet. We just don't have them showing up just yet. And so like it's hard. I don't really like to just come on here and be hopium for the sake of hopium. But if there's things that we're seeing when everybody is scared and worried and those divergences show up, that's great. But it's also just like at the bottom when we're showing those bullish divergences and everybody is just like panicked and worried and screaming, it's not going to happen. You could see that the same thing happens at the peaks, that when you have all the bearish divergences show up, everybody's so high on hopium that they just ignore all those bearish divergences happening on those time frames, and then prices pull back from there. It doesn't have to just be narrative. Like the bearish divergences were very present before the ETFs launched, and so now it's all about blaming grayscale selling, but it's like, you see that, right? Like you see that grayscale selling. The second there feels like there's a moment to be a hopium moon boy, I'll come on and I'll have no problem doing it. But thank you, Forrest. Stephen Edinburgh hooked up 5 BCB memberships, brother. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Stephen. John Trade says, can you look at dot chart? 5 waves up from October of 2023. Seems to be in an ABC, but hard to find the C wave down. P.S. Did you buy Tesla? I don't have Tesla. No, I'm not in Tesla. Is it rallying? Is it up? I haven't even really looked at it. We can look at dot. By the way, guys, let's chill out on the let's not turn this into look at my altcoin, because there does come times I have to turn you down on your altcoins, guys. Yeah, I mean, if it was an ABC, it would mean that you would be working on C now. Right? It's probably 702 retracement, isn't it? Just shy. 618. It means you'd be working on your C right now. But it's just predicting small time frames, and I'm just not really comfortable with that short time frame right in here. We just came out of a massive accumulation, and now we're in a pullback. So no strong conviction on that. But if you were doing ABC corrections, that would be A, B, and then C, back down to support level, and looking for waves of near equal length for zigzag correction, ABC. X Wadapak X, appreciate you. There you go, man. Thanks, man. Holy Schnikes, thank you very much, Holy Schnikes. He says, hey, BCB, could you take a look at Moonbeam? It looked like it was one of them that we possibly should be looking at. You are fire, bro. So Moonbeam obviously showed up. I don't even know. What is the ticker for it? Glimmer? One, I'd look at inflation. It obviously isn't any different from the rest of the market. One, I'd be looking at inflation metrics. I'd be looking at what we obviously saw as we saw it in here. There it was, right there, plus 8% on full-time developer growth. I'd go check. Also, go check it with sentiment. Go see if there's actual lots of development occurring on it. It may not be trackable by sentiment, but if you're gonna place your bets, right? I mean, the data is clearly in favor, and we've obviously done all the case studies on it on the newsletter on Substack, and if you've read them all, and I've told you guys the numbers too. Like there was just the group. If your portfolio consisted of all things focused on development versus, what's the top stuff by market cap, there was a significant difference. And so if Moonbeam is, truly seeing more development pouring into it, it has a better shot. Does the chart look any different than anything else in the market at this point right now? No. Is it massively impacted by inflation? I'm going to bet it is. Let's look at this. Yeah, no doubt. 99% down. So that's one of those other things that we looked at in here. That's also a thing against it, right? So will it go into an all-time high? Statistics say it's almost impossible. When we go back and we look at the top 100 from 2020 and 2021, anything that pulled down over 98% in 2018 and 2019 from the top 100, do you know how many went into an all-time high? Zero. None. Absolutely none. If you lost more than 98%. This is likely a thing that's going to be due to inflation, so we can go check that out. This is a good exercise for everybody. I don't know in Moonbeam. I'm not sitting here, everybody say go buy Moonbeam. And anyway, I know like literally nothing about it except it showed up there on that developer report. But this is a good exercise for everybody just to kind of understand the math behind it all. From the top 100 in 2021, anything that pulled down over 98% from the top 100, if it pulled down 98% or more, it did not go into a new all-time high. So some of the factors that can cause these things to pull down this far can be inflation. So let's look at the inflation rate. We can see that in 2022, we'll start here in June. All right, who cares? We'll start here. June to June. The inflation rate was 130%. So over the course of the last year, inflation rate's been 50%. So that's another negative going for it because 50% is also beyond the threshold of things that were okay from an inflation standpoint. So it kind of has two factors going against it. It's got one thing going for it in regards to development activity, but I would also confirm that with sentiment to take a look at the actual activity that's occurring on it. But a negative going for it is the massive drawdown has happened, that things from the top 100, 0 of them went into all-time highs. But for example, things that were like around 96%, you had like 2 out of the top 100, which was very negligible to almost none. But it got better the higher you went. But it was, once we crossed that 98% threshold, it was 0. None did. It doesn't mean that a rally just back to the April of 2022 highs isn't huge. That rally just back to the April highs, it's 1,500%. It's massive. You're talking XRP going from what, 50 cents to $9? That's the same thing. It's 1,500% or whatever, right? These are the same sized moves. It's just expectation. The chart just would not look like what people would expect for a massive bull run breaking off into blasting all-time highs. It's just, it only gets back to right here. And so keeping those types of things in mind of how the markets have moved. So negative things are still, it has a 50% inflation rate. That's not good. And a massive drawdown, which is beyond the threshold of anything to be able to go back into a new all-time high from the top 100 at least. And then I would confirm the data on sentiment if there actually is strong development activity occurring on there. But I mean, I've heard Jungle Inc. is so underrated. He pays attention to what's going on in the market. I know he pays attention to this one. I know he's been on top of recognizing things like Cardano's and Cosmos, and Polkadot, and all that development activity on those things too. So there's apparently something going on here, but I'm just not in the know on it. Snoopy IRL, hey BCB, were you surprised with the dev data? No, nothing in there surprised me. I think because I've been on top of it so much and I've been tracking it all year long, nothing that I saw in there surprised me. I already knew. What I was really interested to see how they were going to do this report is because I knew that this year there was a difference between past years in regards to this was the first year where the baseline, I was curious if they were going to use a baseline of 0% or if they were going to use a baseline of what the average drawdown was going to end up being. Because I've shown you guys that before on here, that the full-time numbers were negative. And that to see something of this magnitude happening in here for the markets, very different than what we had back in here. Like, look at this. I mean, this is pulled down. New developers has pulled down below the peak of 2017 and 18. When we had this pull down in here, it wasn't below here. I mean, right? Like, this is that's a big pullback down in develop. Wow, look at that. Repos by month. Wow. Look at that. Comes back down. Finally, it hits the previous all-time high. The all-time high repos just got hit in December. How about that? Right, so like there was just a difference. So the only thing I was curious about in the market in this report is because I was really looking forward to these charts, was how they would end up putting the line. Would they really like focus on the 0% line because that was the case, that most of the market was down? Or would they focus on 0, or would they put their baseline at 19? And that was the big question. And so they did end up going with, on average, ecosystems lost 15% of their full-time devs, and that became the baseline measurement of their. And so anything above the baseline has a yellow, and anything below the baseline is red. Not only that, because you're not only below the baseline, but you're below 0 as well. So yellow, you're above baseline, but you're still below 0 growth. You're still losing devs. And then green gets its own little category in blue. So this was really the only thing. It was the way they were going to end up reporting it. But outside of any major surprises in here, I think the one weird one in here is MENA having so much high full-time developers growing 112%, but down 49% total devs. That's kind of a weird metric. I don't think anything in here is too massively surprising. I think you guys have heard me talk about it a lot throughout the year. I would say shifts. Like Osmosis was one that was really high for a while. That one has shifted into the red. Cardano, I've been pointing to that. I've been continuing to say that. That, this thing, it doesn't seem to be going away. Let's see if there's anything else in here. I don't think anything surprised me in here, just because we've been looking at it all year. And of course, I've saved data, I've compiled data, and I've been building spreadsheets and stuff and tracking it on my own from these reports on end, and doing my own calculations in spreadsheets. And then, of course, all the stuff that just got written throughout here, I've been like up to my eyeballs in dev activity for the top 100 coins. So nothing is in any way shocking, from just because I was actually in this data a month and a half ago, right? I was like knee deep in it a month ago. So this is really kind of exactly what I thought. I don't think anything. The reason why the report's nice though is it just kind of does like give the eye-opening things of like us, whatever ecosystems you are. Of course, if I identify myself part of any community in the crypto market, it's with the XRP community, right? And like it's just real eye-opening to get to share that with my community that I'm involved in. To see these things, and like there's issues that can be addressed here. Like, why do you have Ethereum with 3,750, Polygon with 1,300, Polkadot with 1,200 total full-time developers, right? Why is there so many developers in here? And then you have to go way down. Like we have to get way past the 1,000s into the hundreds, and we got to get way down in here. We got to go past these 300s and 200 groups. We got to get to the next group down, and then we find ourselves in the sub 100 group. There's XRP way down in here. And you wouldn't imagine that for an asset that would be in the top 5 by market cap, right? And it's just bringing that awareness, because a lot of people probably don't notice that. And that, so there's obviously a hiccup. There's a hiccup somewhere that is stopping the massive developer growth and things happening on the chain to grow beyond just saying Ripple's going to do this. Ripple's going to send the price to the moon because of secrets, and saying, well, why can't it attract Why can't it attract agents? Why can't it attract an NFT market? Why would we launch an NFT market and it becomes a ghost town on the XRP ledger? There's a fundamental problem there. It does, no matter what, like there's a subset of people that just won't hang around in it. Like if you look at NFT volumes, why would it be only on XRP? Like it's just ghost town. There's a fundamental problem. There's something wrong, and it's solvable. Everything is solvable, but we have to identify it. And a lot of people don't want to go that route because it changes their narrative. It changes their perspective. But once you identify what are all these problems, why do you not have a ton of devs? Why does the NFT market crumble on itself on the XRP ledger? Why will you not bring in new devs, right? Let's go. Why will new devs not come? Where are you? Come on. You're going to make me go all the way back. There it is. Why will newcomers not come? There is something, right? Whether that's no incentive is the best incentive is entirely wrong, and that's not true. And that their incentives do matter in identifying that and how to solve that and create incentives for developers. Or is the programming too difficult? I wouldn't know. I'm not a programmer. Is the processes too difficult? There's an issue here, right? Why do even newcomers not come in? And so I think to myself, like I try to go through the thought process in my mind because I don't know, and that's what I'm working on right now. What is it like? And think about this for any of your assets. Like here's Stellar, way over here. Okay, guys. There's Tron, right? What is it like when you are a newcomer and like you're fresh out of computer science school, or you're just some nerd, dude? You're like 17 years old, 18, you're just getting out of high school. You're like, I've been hacking my whole life, and like I want to be a developer in crypto because I'm down with the system, baby, decentralized, right? What is that workflow or that process that a new developer goes through when they're entering into crypto, deciding they want to be a part of this space? What is it that will draw them to certain places? What are those benefits of going to these ones that they do decide to go to? And identifying all of those things that are so alluring to go here. And are we missing those things here, right? And is there anything we can do to create those similar type of incentives that developers go? Because when developers come, it's like a network effect. You all know it, right? They build, it creates more interest. People talk about it, more people come. Build, create, more people come. And so there's a roadblock. There's a bottleneck somewhere. And having to identify what are the positives that these have. Do we not have those? And what are the roadblocks stopping those? And how do we overcome them? It's that simple. XP Market says the Electric Capital statistics only include open source projects. So there's not much point in doing an open source project on XRPL because there are no smart contracts, unlike Ethereum, where all projects do a smart contract, which counts as an open source solution. There you go. So makes sense, right? But why are there only 70 devs? Why are we losing devs? Why are you not growing, right? Why do you not have more excitement to build? And that's also a cultural thing too, right? I actually yesterday I went into a Twitter Spaces and brought up the issue because you got the people screaming, "You're screaming! It's the Riddlers! It's the Riddlers!" Like, okay, I fully expect that out of your mouth, sir. But no, there's a problem that for some reason developers don't want to be here yet. And so I even there was like a developer from Ripple that jumped in there. He's like, man, thank you so much for bringing the awareness to this. Multiple other builders hopped into my DMs and started thanking me. that the attention is being brought to it. Because apparently there is a big frustration among devs. And you may want to ask yourself, why did the ZAL network get created? Why did they branch off, right? Why? And that was an alarming thing too, to see that your main guy, which everybody knows, right? V7. Now, name another developer beyond him. Do you know any? Probably not, because there's just not many, right? He's the superstar. And he even branched off. They're branching off and kind of having their own little side project on the XRP ledger. And there's frustration. And we need to recognize that and acknowledge that and listen to them and hear what they have to say and find out if there's any solutions. Okay, I'm moving on. That's enough of that. No surprises in dev data for me. Snoopy IRL. Dr. Ty, profit is profit. None of us is special enough to actually sell the top and buy the bottom. Just don't trade with leverage. Happy Friday. Hit the like. Thank you, Dr. Ty. Nailed it. All right, I got to move faster, guys, because we're already at an hour, and I have no clue how much further I have to go. The super chats I'm reading right now were over 30 minutes ago. Innova Electrical, thank you very much. Just a simple super chat with no message. Taylor McLaughlin, what's going on? Who's going to win the Super Bowl? If Kansas City wins the Super Bowl, then the NFL is 100% rigged, and I will forever question any thoughts that I've ever had about Taylor Swift in my whole life. I'm praying not them. Let me keep my Taylor Swift fantasies alive, and let's not have the Super Bowl be that blatantly, or the NFL be that blatantly obviously rigged. Grit T, hey BCB, big fan, longtime lurker. Thanks for everything. Did you see or talk about Jay Clayton being one of their advisors? Not knocking the data, but interesting. Any thoughts? Now back to lurking. Unfortunately, you get to that about a half an hour ago, so I don't know who you're referring to because Jay Clayton is being one of their advisors. I'm not sure who you're referencing to. XRP, fighting on it. We'll see if it can close the day above it. Connor, thank you, Grit. Connor Doyle, member for 7 months. Is there any confluence to September of 2018 rally prior to capitulation? Thanks for keeping it real. September of 2018 rally prior to capitulation. I don't know what asset we're talking about, but we would be entirely different in here, right? I mean, we've rallied way back up in here. In any market, we've just spent a tremendous amount of time in here. So I would not consider this time period to be remotely like we're right here. This is less than a year after the peak came in. We're almost 3 years since the peak came in. Almost 3. For most of the altcoins, it's been almost 3. In April, it will have been 3 years for a lot of these altcoins. Fat from Jaded. No, I'm not going to acknowledge it. The coin that you're asking about. Just your message made it clear I shouldn't. Thank you, bro. Not touching it with a 10-foot pole. Kenneth McLello, new member. Welcome. Matt Bragg. If Bitcoin pulls back further to 30 to 36K, whatever, and altcoins pull back with it rather than going, at what point would you look at alternative thesis? The scariest thing would be if the altcoins don't do anything and Bitcoin does just plunge down in here. It's just a wrecked market, an utterly wrecked market. If we just pull all the way back down into the mid to lower 20s and nothing happens with the altcoins. There's lots of different various support levels in here, including where we're at right now. That would just be a doomsday scenario happening in there. And that's when I'd have to start saying, holy cow, this looks so wrecked. It's beyond belief. But as of right now, we're just nowhere near there. There's so many things beyond that. And the more this pulls down, the more we're going to get questions like that of scary, 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 fear, fear, fear. But hopefully some relief does come in here pretty soon to kind of calm that down. But right now, there's too many areas for things to happen. We just have to shatter everything for it to be like, holy cow, this is so bad. It's beyond belief. And we're just nowhere near that. Tom R, new member, welcome. Gaining value. I think most NFTs are scams, and I'm an XRP holder. Maybe others are the same. You're probably right. The false promises of metaverses and that you're going to be getting tons of rewards and serums and all types of staking rewards and everything, and it just builds and builds and builds on itself. A lot of that stuff, probably, right? And so, I guess it just depends on what you're looking at and what your expectations are. If people are making you crazy promises, then you have to weigh it. Are those promises going to come to fruition? There were a lot of promises on a lot of stuff on XRP Ledger. There's a lot of promises on a lot of the NFTs. And you had to acknowledge that in the beginning. I remember we were going through the launches. I was kind of going through them because we're getting ready to have NFTs on the on the XRP Ledger. And like I even mentioned it in there. The thing I keep consistently seeing between a lot of these NFT projects is that they're saying they're going to have a metaverse, right? And it's like, that is the promise that all of these are making. And it just seems so unlikely that those are going to end up happening. I think the only one that, the ones that like have the chance of delivering the metaverses at this point, now that we're about a year beyond that, a little over a year beyond it, looks like Expector's about to have theirs come out. It looks like the X-Punks have their stuff coming out pretty soon. I don't know. You have to check on that, but I think Expector's real close. Again, I own all these things. Zerpy's making their video games. PTW just dropped me a drink. I don't know what that is. But all the metaverse promising at this point. Anybody promising? The reality is on building a metaverse is, you know how much it seems to cost to build a metaverse? Like millions. That's what it seems to cost. So anybody like creating some dog art that's 10,000 images and that all it has is a change of a nose ring or an eyebrow piercing or something like that, and they're like, yeah, we're going to create a metaverse. No, you're not. No, you're not. No. And so you're going to have to identify that kind of stuff. Nazario Navarro, thank you very much, brother. Hugh D, the XRP mega trend line underneath everything is now about 50 cents. If we were to blast off soon, do you think the fake out underneath it first? I don't care about trend lines. I just don't care about trend lines. Where's a good trend line? I was looking at this one the other day. How trend liners got wrecked. Ethereum, Bitcoin. This is a good one. You got taken out down here, takes out a long time in triangle, breaks bottom of triangle, up through triangle, takes out triangle. So yeah, we can draw trends all we want. You guys know I don't use them very often. Innova Electrical. Hey, BCB, I agree the XRP community should be built more. I have a philanthropic idea to develop on the XRPL. Can we chat if I DM? I don't have the ability to get that launched I get lots of product pitches and stuff like that. So a lot of times when I go to like real events and stuff too, I've had people pull out binders and like try to really pitch me on stuff. I'm like, I don't know what you want from me. I can't do anything for you. But I think I'm probably the wrong guy to go to pitch what your idea is on the XRPL. But talking with developers and maybe that's a big thing too. Like maybe that's something that's missing in this space. Is there a way, if somebody is interested in developing, is there a real clear way to go get into it? And so like this is a good thing to even be talking about it because like you know what's coming up. Consensus is coming. Consensus 2024 is coming in May in Austin again, and the XRPL. I think they're the biggest sponsor, right? So I think it's the year. But maybe there needs to be a clearer way for people who do have ideas and are interested in building. Where do you go, right? Do you have a clear idea on where you're supposed to go? Jeremiah Cooker, BCB, my man, I feel dumb asking this. If and when the stock market and Bitcoin go lights out, are alts expected to follow? That has been my assumption. We can only go based off of history of how the market does behave before as one big liquidity flow. And you would think the altcoins would not be on some spectacular bull run on their own with the stock market crashing and crumbling and Bitcoin crashing and crumbling. But for some reason, altcoins are surging to the moon. It would seem unusual to me. There wouldn't be a reference point for us to go back and say, hey, that seems likely. It would seem unlikely. Excuse me. All right, Mike, I just want to show my appreciation to you and the BCB crew from Omaha, Nebraska. Thanks for all you do. Have a blessed weekend, everyone. Dude, Mike, thank you, brother. Just kindness. Terrence Rafferty, do you think the XRP ledger has been pigeonholed as payments and devs don't even think of it for smart contracts or NFTs? I think it's even less about what devs think of it as. It may be a cultural thing, right? If anybody like the culture has been so focused on Ripple and payments and everything like that, that as a culture, if somebody builds NFTs on our platform, what's the first thing that's going to happen to their Twitter page when they go post it? Tell me what's going to happen. They're going to get attacked. They're going to get attacked. If you do anything, you build anything, you are going to get attacked. And that like just kind of a cultural thing. And that's not my opinion. That is what happens. And like we have to shift to like being so focused on there's secrets upon secrets being built, and there's just a flip of a switch that's going to happen by David Schwartz. It's going to send everything to the moon. And you know, doing the thing, I always think one of the things I've learned in life is like there's things that are just out of my control. They're totally out of my control. And you know what? Improving developer activity and helping with growth, it may be completely out of my control. But maybe it's not. Maybe I can play a role. But what Ripple does is out of my control. And so I can't focus on waiting and creating conspiracies and ideas of what Ripple's doing. I can only focus on the things that are within my control, and that's identifying problems, trying to create solutions, and then how can it be executed? And you know, this is the thing that's within the control. And the data shows that if there's more activity, it draws in more users, it draws in more of a network effect. And so if we want network effects to happen and it not to be 6 more years of Ripple's going to flip that switch one day, well, these are the things that are in our control within a community, because that's what a decentralized asset's supposed to be, right? Community run, right? These are the things we could focus on. And where are the issues that we notice? There's a developer chokehold here. There's a choke point somewhere. Why? And we have to identify it and problem solve it. But like, it's not devs' faults for like anybody can launch an entity, but there's no appetite for it on the XRP ledger, unlike other ones. I mean, you go look at other. I mean, can we go find it? Like NFT volume by chain. They don't even put XRP in here, do they? Like this is from the block. Like in the last year, there's even an increased volume in NFTs, NFT interest, right? Ordinals play a huge role on Bitcoin, but it's drawing in interest. XRP doesn't even make it into being the little slivers. So there's just important things to acknowledge and recognize, right? And there's one group of people who's going to take that as FUD. FUD. It's not FUD, man. It's just a problem solution. Crypto Student 99, thanks for rocking these live streams every day. You keep showing up, and that is really appreciated. Shout out to BCB and Bills Mafia. Oh, go Bills. Okay, I don't know. Go Bills, I guess. I don't know. Man, I used to massively be into the NFL, and then I just kind of chilled out on it. Once I got hardcore into crypto, I think I just stuck with baseball. But I mean, football's great in the heat of the moment. It's the playoffs. Who doesn't enjoy playoffs? It doesn't matter whether you follow it all year or not. There's stuff on the line. There's passion in this moment. Everybody's playing for all the marbles right now. And so that makes it just more exciting. The freak fish. Don't be panicking Peter Piper XRP. Thank you, the freak fish. Taylor Swift is a clone of Zena Levy and practices witchcraft in her videos. A lurker here as well, BCB. Just wanted to brighten your day with conspiracy theories from the XRP community. Thank you, sir. Nah, but for real, I'll put on my tinfoil hat and become a conspiracy theorist if Kansas City wins. If there's one team I don't want to win, it's Kansas City, because that destroys my whole world perspective all over again. I can't trust Taylor Swift. I can't trust the NFL. It's all rigged. It's all rigged. So I don't want Kansas City to win. All right, that's it. We're done. That's how we're ending a Friday. Keep an eye on this. We'll look for a support to come in here today. We'll look for XRP to be able to close above that 42 or 54.2. Look for Ethereum still showing strength in here after a massive trend line breakout. Just kidding. But it did. And then we'll see how things kind of shape up at the end of the trading day today. It's where we saw a lot of volatility in the markets last week. Hey, maybe they buy the heck out of it at the end of the trading day today. We'll see how things go. Otherwise, I wish you all an absolutely wonderful, wonderful weekend. Thank you for tuning in all week. Pretty, just kind of digesting the whole ETF stuff is really the name of the week and how it all went. But we'll check in with it again next week. Hopefully the dust is settling from the Arctic blast that went through the United States last week and things are starting to warm up where you live. Otherwise, guys, thank you. Crypto Student 99. It took 12 to 15 years for people to embrace new technology like the internet back in 1988 through 2000. Give crypto time and realized we are still early. Very well. Very well. On that note, I'll catch you guys over there on Twitter. The most hated man on Twitter. You're listening to him live. I am a human being. But I do know how to brush off Twitter. So, all right, guys. I hope that you all have an absolutely wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching. If you could, check out my newsletter. I always forget to do this dang thing. Blockchainbacker.substack.com, and then just blow your mind away with 40 plus videos and over 11 hours of content on bcbacker.com, where all your wildest dreams can come true of hearing my voice all weekend long as I teach you how to set up your own charts and indicators within TradingView and CoinTrader Pro, teaching about common effective tools and indicators and chart patterns, Wyckoff method, Wyckoff accumulation, Elliott wave theory, historical behavior of the cryptocurrency market, and secret sauce from market experience, along with downloadable PDFs you can print out on your PC or onto your wall and plaque them all over the place, whatever you want to do with it. $39 one time, no subscriptions over here on bcbacker.com, or you can check out the subscription-based newsletter here at blockchainbacker.substack.com. Otherwise, that's the pitch. That's the end. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Thank you so much. If you could hit that like button on the way out before I finish my outro. We're at 995. We'll see if we can cross that 1,000 before I'm done. That's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you could, please like this live stream and give it a thumbs up. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice, and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.